All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What's going on, everybody? We're back talking some hoops. My man Rio and I. Nice 4-game slate yesterday. It was pretty good. I saw some screenshots in there. I got pretty close, not enough to get to the top. Spurs absolutely nukes. Collins, Mamu, 10-gamer today. I like a little 10 games. Injury news, as always. Excited to break it down with you. Ben's in here. Sean, Go Collect, William, Reds, Charlie in here. Appreciate everyone hanging out. As always, throw it to you, man Rio. Got the green Yankees hat yesterday, the black Yankees hat today. You really want baseball. What's going on?
Nah, I'm just trying to compete with you. You always come out with the fresh hats. I gotta switch it up every day. Got the SHIPIT hoodie on today, so I had to mash it up a little bit. Yeah, it's pretty solid slate as always on these big Wednesday, Friday type slates. You're gonna have a ton of injury news that will definitely make or break the slate. Luckily, I like how DraftKings has been doing this, where they're kind of meshing in all the games together in a small hour-and-a-half window. So we'll get all the news at the same time. Could be kind of overwhelming if we get some crazy news like a Jokic or Embiid, something like that sits. But I prefer that having all the games in this smaller window than having it spread it out over a 3-4 hour window. So. Yeah, I'm excited for this slate though. I just did my write-up, just got the slate plan up right before we went live. So feeling good, feeling nice and prepared to talk about this 10-game slate.
Oh yeah, as always. Yeah, Rio's always prepared. Deep dives into the numbers, does a great job over here at chippination.com. Many of you guys probably know, but the slate plan Rio does breaks down upper tier, mid tier, lower tier, writes a blurb on all those players. A good amount of it's up the night before, at least usually a skeleton piece. And then he adds stuff as the slate goes, as the morning goes on. And then when news does change, he updates stuff in yellow. Obviously, NBA projections are key. We have projections over here, great projections. Our guy Boomer, it's updated throughout the night. You need projections in NBA to compete. So have that. Core reports, slate plans, correlation tools, ceiling rankings, everything you need over here. Ownership to be successful. And it's not just NBA. Huge NFL week. Thursday, tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, huge weekend. Of course, Christmas weekend. We got Christmas basketball as well. Rio and I will have a video out for that recorded before that will drop, though. No better time to get over. Join us at the Nation. Use that promo code MAYO if you do join. Get you 10% off any membership. We have weekly, monthly, 6-month, and annual. Weekly, $25 a week. It does not include the Discord, though. Monthly, 6-month, and annual does. $69 a month for the monthly, $59 a month it comes out to for the 6-month, then annual comes out to $49 a month before you use that code MAYO. So make sure to use that code MAYO, get you 10% off any package. Get in the Discord if you do join as well. We always hype it up. It is really such a great community, though. Always mention Paraby. Shout out him. Sean Sullivan's always in there. Tons of these. Alex Hahn, a lot of familiar faces that are in the Discord all the time, helping people out. Just a great time being in there. So many Discord channels. Best ball, Go Collect. I don't know if you saw it yesterday. I shouted you out, though, man. What a squad you got. Cheering for you. 2 more weeks. Absolute tank in the $3 right there. So, yeah, Keith in here. Marley, what's going on, Marley? Going to the Pacers game, so got to stack it. We will talk about that very shortly. Big total. Get to see the boy Tyrese, baby. Jordan, Jasmine in here. Frank in here. Mark in here as well. Jake, what's going on? Any initial thoughts? Obviously, injury news is always key. You mentioned the start times. Only one late game, which is nice. Anything else before we go game by game?
Not really. I mean, a couple of big names that are questionable. Then we just got a couple more pieces of news rolling in while we just started. Josh Hart, Malik Monk, Tari Eason, all questionable. I definitely think that changes things up a little bit. Had a couple of those guys in the slate plan I was interested in, but obviously we'll break it down when we get to those games, talk if-then scenarios.
Yep. As always, we'll go if-then, talk Q-tags, midday downgrades, multiple midday downgrades today. So Hey, welcome to the NBA and welcome to the association. You guys know the grind. That's what the NBA is. That's why there's a huge edge, though. You need to stay on top of it. If you can't do it, like today, I'll be at a hockey game. I cannot be playing. I cannot be dealing with late swap, so I will not be playing. I think that's how you should approach it. If I get back in time for Showdown, I'll hop in those streets. We also do have Showdown content that our man Rio does Monday through Friday. Prize pool is very good. Content has been on point. Let's start first game of the night right here. Big Marley's going to be in attendance. Charlotte Hornets, Indiana Pacers. Big boy total, 247.5. Pacers are favored by 9.5. Looking at the injury report, Mark Williams is still doubtful. Nick Richards will continue to start. LaMelo is still out as well. On the Indy side, Miles Turner and Jalen Smith are questionable. I always love playing Isaiah Jackson. Tell me if you think does it just need Turner to be out, or if Jalen Smith's out as well, could you get to a little Isaiah Jackson? I think you're going to say you need both, or you need Miles Turner to be out to play Jackson. I'd expect him to slide in the starting lineup. I love Tyrese as always, but talking ownership in this game, I think it's going to be pretty low, even with this big total. So you can always get to Tyrese as a contrarian spend. If Turner's out, I like some Isaiah Jackson. Help Marley out, though. He wants to stack up this game. Who you like?
Yes, I mean, this is a really good game to kick off the night. Huge point total. As is always with the Pacers playing, they just play with the fastest pace. Terrible defense. Been good most of the year offensively, but they've really been struggling lately. And I mean, Rick Carlisle's kind of hinting at a lineup change here, possibly. So a couple of guys that could be at risk of losing their starting job, Buddy Hield and Obi Toppin. I think that it would make sense to probably put in a Benedict Mathurin and or Aaron Nesmith, and they both should see pretty heavy bump in their minutes. But yeah, based on the matchups, these teams are very similar in the way that they play defense. Both are huge rim funnels. Pacers are dead last in the league in rim defense. Hornets are bottom 5. And the Pacers allow the least amount of three-pointers per game. So I don't necessarily think that's because their three-point defense is elite. It's just their rim defense is so bad that it's just the path of least resistance just to get to the rim and get most of your buckets down low. But yeah, this Pacers obviously play super fast and pace. Their bottom 2 transition defense. Hornets have kind of struggled with their transition offense this year, so definitely think that this can be a get-right spot for them to put up a big boy score. And on the Hornets side, definitely have a lot of interest in Terry Rozier here, even at 8.9K. I don't know if we've ever seen Terry at this big of a price tag, but he's been playing some of his best basketball of his career this year with no LaMelo Ball leading the team and all the ball handling role, the usage, assist percentage, the time of possession is all there. This is one of the best matchup for opposing point guards. Going to have an easy, weak defender on him on the other side, so he could definitely put up a big boy score here. I think he's got a really, really high ceiling, and his assist numbers have been keeping his floor pretty high too. Has a couple double-digit assist games in the past 5-6 games, and kind of hovering around 6 to 7 a game. So he's definitely very much in play here. As far as all the secondary Hornets guys, I want to have a lot of interest in them just because the matchup is so good. But if you look at the price tags, 6.9K for Hayward, 6.5 for Brandon Miller, 6.3 for PJ Richards is 6.1K, and then all of these value guys, Bryce McGowan's, Ish Smith, in the mid to high 4K. So they don't really excite me that much. The only other player that I do have interest in on the Hornets side would be Miles Bridges. I think it'd be a little bit tougher for him if Aaron Nesmith were to play. I'm not sure if Nesmith would get the Miles Bridges assignment, but Nesmith is a pretty solid defender. But, I mean, anytime the Pacers are on the slate, you can almost guarantee that somebody on the other side of the game is going to have a pretty big fantasy score. So I think that the most likely outcome is one of Terry or Miles Bridges puts up a big game, and they're both just going to see super heavy minutes. So those would be my 2 main pieces on the Hornet side. And, yeah, Pacers side is kind of tough to peg right now because they're just playing really bad right now. Tyrese Halliburton, minutes have come down a lot. His efficiency has been slipping a lot too. Price is starting to come down to a place he's a little bit more playable, but almost 11K is just kind of tough for him just with the current form that he's in right now. So I don't really have much interest in Halliburton. I would expect if if Miles Turner is in, I would expect him to have a pretty strict minutes limit just with him having a hamstring injury. So I don't think that you can really get there at 7.2K. And then, I mean, all the other guys are pretty priced up as well. Bennett Mathurin, 6.3K is not much of a value, even if he is starting. And yeah, TJ McConnell, almost 6K. Buddy Hield's almost 6K. I think Isaiah Jackson, like you said earlier, if both Miles Turner and Jalen Smith were out, I think you can go right back to him at 5.7K. It's always been a really good matchup for opposing centers against the Hornets. So I would not mind going back to him at 5.7K if both Turner and Jalen Smith are out. But yeah, surprisingly, don't really have a ton of interest in the Pacers side.
Yeah, it's priced according. So just say Jalen Smith's in, Miles Turner's out. Would you have, I mean, Isaiah Jackson's still 5'7", and center's loaded, mainly loaded, and it's two guys, Nick Claxton, Isaiah Hartenstein, very strong plays. Not quite the Zach Collins, Mamu like yesterday, where anyone's contrarian, which Joe Val got there, Brooke got there. I mean, it was a great center night. Still think two centers will be popular. You can mention Nick Richards. Was he worth 6,100 mark saying, I don't know. I think I want a little more upside at the center position, but Isaiah Jackson, thoughts on him if Jalen Smith was in and Miles Turner's out? Could you get there at 5'7", or do you need both out?
No, I think you could get there at 5'7", just because Jalen Smith is going to be returning from an injury as well. So I don't think that he's immediately sliding into the starting role or even seeing mid-20s minutes. I think that most of those minutes probably still go to Isaiah Jackson, and he's been getting talked up by Rick Carlisle a lot too, just saying he's really improved as an NBA player. There's definitely a chance that they just run more small ball. I mean, you could definitely slide an Obi Toppin to the 5, or I mean, I don't see Neesmith playing the 5, but Charlotte's pretty
Obi.
Yeah, it could be Obi at the 5. Charlotte's pretty thin at the back of the front court too, so they don't really have a true backup center. I guess if you want to say like Nathan Mensah, but he's not guaranteed to see minutes by any means. So I think that Indy could definitely run more small ball, and that could take away minutes from Isaiah Jackson, Jalen Smith. But yeah, I think if Turner is out, you can very, very well go back to Jalen Smith or Isaiah Jackson, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this game definitely could go small. Like Nick Richard, if he gets in foul trouble or something, or if Turner's out, you can see him go PJ, you can see him go Bridges at the 5, and it's easy for Indiana to match too. So yeah, my interest in this game definitely can play Terry. I like Terry. Chucks. His role has been great. Brandon Miller, man, he has been tilting me, but you look at the usage, the shot attempts, way better price on FanDuel. Ownership will follow 5.8K compared to 6.5 on DK. But I mean, 16. I mean, the last 4 games, they've had 16 shot attempts, upper 30s minutes in a couple of them. Usage 24, 31, 21, 25, 25, 26. The dude's chucking it. I mean, it tilted me a couple nights ago. I had Rozier, Richards, I had all the Hornets except Miller, and the dude literally just did not look at any. He got the ball and he was a black hole, and it tilted me so hard. But if you roster him, that's something you do like. I think Brandon Miller, he has that upside, upper 30s minutes. Great game environment. He's going to chuck. The shots do have to fall, but I'm good with Brandon Miller. Contrarian, a little contrarian on DK. Again, FanDuel, a lot better price. Ownership will follow, but I really think it's just Terry, Brandon Miller for me. And then if Miles Turner's out, can get to some Isaiah Jackson, but center is completely loaded. And he's just center eligible. That's that game. Big Marley, let us know who your game stacking this one up, because it is pretty tough. Ooh, I was going to say, go collect. I forgot to mention, man, you're going to get one of these puppies pretty soon after you ship, baby. Drafters, come on, go collect. What's going on, OMG? What's going on, Ross? Any thoughts on this? Like, if Turner and Jalen Smith are out, maybe 30, but he's not going to be running mid-30s minutes. Like, they can go small. Any thoughts on Isaiah Jackson's minutes?
No, I think that if both those guys are out, mid-20s is the most likely outcome. I don't think that they're going to really push him to get to 30 minutes. I don't think he's never even got. Last game he had the most minutes, got to 25 that he's had pretty much all season. So I think that's most likely outcome.
Yep, I agree there. Good point per minute guy, but the minutes are capped. Let's keep it rolling. Next game on the slate: Miami Heat, Orlando Magic, 219 total. Orlando is favored by 5. On the injury report, Jimmy Butler is out. Kevin Love is out for Miami. For Orlando, Joe Ingles is out. Doesn't mean much. And in terms of DFS, I mean, these are two teams I hate playing. Yes, Jimmy is out. Both these teams play slow, good defense. The prices are efficient. Like Bam's 9.5 at a loaded center position. Wendell Carter minutes limits. If I had to pick anyone, it'd probably Paulo at 8K. I'm just never a Paulo guy. I'm going to say total pass, but it's Paulo or nothing, I guess. What about you? What do you see?
Yeah, I'm a pass in this game too. I don't see much, even with Jimmy being out. All the Heat guys are priced up really, really high, so I think you can get away from them. And yeah, pretty much just Paulo or pass for me in this game.
I love it. Let's keep it rolling. Next game on the slate. Again, we appreciate everyone hanging out. Appreciate that like button. Mayo appreciates it as well. So like button, subscribe button helps us out a ton. And then if you want to head over to the SHIPIT Nation YouTube channel as well, almost at 5,000 subscribers, giving away annual package. So head over there, hit the subscribe button on the SHIPIT Nation YouTube channel as well. Yes, Wendell Carter is back. Go collect. Let's keep it rolling. Next game on the slate, we got the Minnesota Timberwolves heading to Philly. 225 and a half total. Philly is favored by 3. Looking at the injury reports, and this one we got on the Philly side, Rocco and Marcus Morris is questionable. Nicholas Batum is out, so doesn't look too important, but I think if both of them miss, they're definitely going to be thin at the wing. As far as the Minnesota side, no injury news. That's important. Talk about the Q tags, and if that matters anything to you. Embiid's always an interest for me. Going to be so low owned because center's absolutely loaded. He is very expensive. Can you get to an Embiid? Do you think there's enough value as of now on this slate? Plenty of Q tags. It feels like some value should open up. This is the first game, or it locks right away though. Could you see yourself plugging in Embiid to start? Outside of that, does the Q tags do anything for any of these guys? Any interest on the Minnesota side?
Yeah, Q tags don't really do much for me in this game. I just think that even though they'll be missing Covington, Marcus Morris, and Batum, they have enough wing depth with Kelly Oubre and Daniel House. They could definitely mix those guys in. I might be going in and out of mute. I got a bunch of barking dogs in the background right now, but I'll try to manage.
If you got to mute, you got to mute, but it's not distracting us. But if you got to do it, no worries.
Okay. I think they're fine right now. But yeah, I really like Embiid in this matchup, even though there's a lot of things going against him. Just these are two of the best defenses in the league. Wolves are number 1 overall. They're the best team in terms of DVP versus the center, but they haven't really played a player like Embiid this year. So you can kind of throw matchup stuff away when you're talking about guys like Embiid, Halliburton, Jokic, those type of players. They're too good. And I mean, anytime you get a full minutes workload from Embiid, 36, 37 minutes, he's pretty much guaranteed to smash. I don't think that there's no defender in the league that can really guard Embiid with how well he's playing right now. And on top of that, he's becoming way more involved as a passer. He leads the team in assist percentage, 31%. So even if they're blitzing him with double teams, he's going to find somebody that's open. He's just been getting much more involved and really improved his playmaking a lot this year. So I don't have any issues going to Embiid. I mean, if you look at ownership, then I mean you're talking about Luka, who's $600 more, obviously in probably a better spot, but just with like usage to go around more to Luka, but 600 cheaper, and he's only going to be 4 to 6%. I think that Embiid makes us a really strong spend-up option. That I mean, anytime he's gotten 37, 36 minutes, I mean, he's been in the 70s like pretty consistently. Just look at his numbers. He's been just crushing this year. So I'm not too scared off of the Rudy Gobert matchup at all, but he would really be the only person I'm looking to in this game. I think not much really stands out on the Minnesota side. Tough matchup for Ant going against D'Anthony Melton. Karl-Anthony Towns is pretty priced up for this low of a game total and slow of a game. And then I guess if you wanted, like, I don't think it's too crazy to go to Rudy Gobert. If he's able to stay out of foul trouble, which is a pretty big if, the matchup is not really the worst. I mean, Embiid, he's a solid defender. I always say this, but he's not going to give 100% effort on defense. He's kind of fine letting teams score a little bit around the rim. So I think that Rudy might be able to get a couple open looks, and obviously has the big rebounding upside, but just a big downside with the Embiid matchup. And there could be a ton of foul risk going his way, but Embiid is definitely my favorite play in this game.
Man, this mute, only one screen, this mute's tough. It's so Embiid or bust. You see it the same way I do. Yeah, I like it. Let's get to the next game on the slate. Who Mark asked, I was also looking at that. Who takes Batum's minutes? He's wondering. Not that it really matters at all. I see it being it also depends on these other Q tags. Like it's going to be Rocco, I think. Morris gets Tobias gets more minutes. Oubre, Melton. I just think it's the other guys that are in the rotation just get a couple more minutes bump. I don't see like one direct pivot that gets all of them. Don't have interest either way, but do you see it any different?
I'm just trying to think like matchup wise, it makes sense to get one of probably Covington in there, but I think is he questionable as well?
He's questionable too. Him and Marcus Morris. That's what I like. If both of them are out, I don't know. Like, do I really want to go like Oubre, Tobias at 6'9", Melton at 5'7"? Like, those are the guys. If both of them are out, those are the guys that get a huge bump. Like, how much or a bump in minutes for sure? Like, would they roll Daniel House or Korkmaz or any of that? Not really sure. I think it's just those starters: the Meltons, Oubres, Tobias. Maxey will run his 40. If both of them are out, if one of them are in or both of them are in, I think they're the biggest beneficiaries, but we're not playing them. So that's how I see it.
Yeah, I think it's got to be Oubre just seeing a pretty big minutes bump. I mean, that could sneakily be a better spot for Karl-Anthony Towns. I mean, if all these guys are out, Batum's a pretty solid defender, and they really won't have anybody behind Tobias Harris to stick with Karl-Anthony Towns. So maybe he would be more in play if all three of those guys were out.
Yeah, I like it because Batum is out, and then those other two are questionable. But yeah, I think let me make sure I'm seeing this right. So much is going on right now. Yeah. So Morris is questionable. He's questionable. Where the heck is Batum's out? Covington questionable. Morris questionable. I think even if both of them were out, like, do you see yourself on a 10-game slate with all these Q tags getting to like an Oubre at 5'9" or like Melton at 5'7"? I don't think so. Towns, maybe that makes sense that way. No one's ever talks about going to the other side. 8.8K, he's still going to be solo owned. You think he'd be the biggest beneficiary if both of them are out, even more than these Philly guys in terms of who you'd play in DFS?
I mean, matchup wise, he would have to be. I just don't see who else the Sixers could throw at him because Daniel House, I mean, solid defender, but he's going to be way undersized. And I mean, even Tobias Harris is pretty undersized, and he's not even that good of a defender. Kelly Oubre is not going to guard Karl-Anthony Towns. So I think that he could kind of be out there on an island against a pretty weak defender most of the night.
Yeah. Let's just hope. I mean, I assume one of these guys are being. Let's hope they are. Then it's just Embiid or bust in that game. Pretty easy. And it's very interesting. So right now, assuming Donovan Mitchell's in, we're about to talk on this game. He's going to be the most popular spend on the slate. He was a midday downgrade, though. He didn't go through shoot around. It's an illness. We've seen this yesterday. We saw Wiggins, like 2 hours before game time, become a midday downgrade, a questionable, still played. But if a D-Mitch is in, I think that's where people go as the highest spend, at least for most roster construction. Then they jam that mid-tier build in more. So anybody above him, talking Embiid, talking the Lucas, are going to be contrarian, especially at that center position. So I assume enough value will open up. You get 70, 75 from Embiid, which is definitely in the realm of possibilities. At 1%, 2%, you can sign me up for that any day. So Embiid or bust in that game. Monitor the wing news, though, with Rocco and Morris. Keep it rolling. Next game on the slate. Rio's Utah Jazz taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers. 227.5 total. Cavs are favored by 5. We talked about it on the Cavs side. Why D-Mitch is going to be the most popular if he plays. Garland's out and Mobley's out. D-Mitch is questionable. Again, he missed shoot around. It is an illness. We will get this news before lock. First game, 7 p.m. Eastern still. Utah side. Sucks. Your boy Keontae George. He's out. Jordan Clarkson's out. Yurt 7 is out. Touch on this Cavs side first. Outside of D-Mitch, I think LeVert might get a little ownership. George Niang is popping for some value. Or Okoro is going to slide or stay in the starting lineup without Garland and Mobley. I always hate playing Okoro. Niang, I'm much better playing, but I don't know, man. 4K. Value's a little tough right now. I think that's why a lot of these people the general roster construction is going to be mid-tier right now because under 4.5K, there's really not much that stands out right now. Always assume some value opens up. Projections dictate that. We have them updated all the time. But if the slate locked right now, Niang's popping a little bit for value, and that is definitely gross. But touch on D Mitch. If he's out, how many Cavs are too many, and then any interest on the other side?
Yeah, I mean, if D Mitch is out, I think you got to jam in probably 3 Cavaliers, and I mean, just the guys that would be in play. I think like how I'd rank them. Craig Porter Jr. is probably going to be number 1. I think that he would probably slide into the starting lineup. He's already shown this year he can be a really solid fantasy producer when given the minutes. Karis LeVert going to see a huge uptick in ball handling. Going to see a ton of minutes. Great matchup too for opposing guards. Max Strus going to be right there too. 6.6K, little expensive for him, but his playmaking has been up this year. Rebounding is up, and really good matchup for 3-point shooters. The Jazz are bottom 3 in the league in 3-pointers allowed per game. So really all of these guys are set up pretty nicely. I think to a lesser degree, Jared Allen would be a pretty solid play just because he's going to get more shot attempts his way with Donovan being out. That's about 25 plus vacated field goal attempts per game with Donovan out. Matchup is not as good for the bigs against the Jazz. They've actually surprisingly done a lot better defensively against opposing centers with Walker Kessler back in the lineup playing bigger minutes. So they've kind of shored up their interior defense a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, if Donovan is in, he definitely should be one of the higher owned studs tonight. I mean, it's not like a secret that there's a little bit of a revenge spot for him. Obviously, they traded, you got Lauri Markkanen and Colin Sexton coming over from the Cavaliers for Donovan Mitchell, kind of left on bad terms. So I definitely think that he would want to show out against his former team. Matchup is going to be awesome. The Jazz have no on-ball defense with Colin Sexton, THT, Chris Dunn type of guys out there trying to guard Donovan Mitchell. Great matchup for 3-point shooters, like I said. So he would definitely be probably the best spin up on the slate if he is in. He's projecting really well right now. Is probably the top value on the whole slate too. So I definitely have a ton of interest in Donovan if he's in. I guess we could talk like if then scenarios if he is out, because I think there's a couple ways that they could go with the starting lineup.
Give me Karras, give me Strus right away. The easiest plays.
Yeah.
Craig Porter, if he slides in, very easy as well. I don't know. Like if Allen then gets steam, like Allen doesn't do much for D Mitch, or like D Mitch being out doesn't do much for Allen. So if he did catch that steam at a good center position, not much interest on my side there. The Niangs are I don't know, man. Like Dean Wade, I always hate playing a Coro. I'm scarred with this. His first game as a rookie year, 41 minutes, like 1.5 FanDuel points or something, went down in OT. I'm always scarred, but I don't know. Would you get to the Okoros, the Niangs of the world? The Niang's popping a little bit right now. And again, just a lack of value. And I don't expect that to stay, assuming we get some injury news. I don't know, man.
I mean, I may have too big of a bias in this one. Just I saw George Niang playing the Jazz for years, and just it was so painful to watch him out there. He's literally my least favorite player in the NBA. And you could ask any one of my friends, ask my dad. I'm the leader of the George Niang hate club for sure.
I loved him at Iowa State too, man. He was that college, the Frank Kaminsky-esque slow motion. And he just found a way to get it done. But yeah, I hear you for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, it's hard to deny that he would. I mean, he's definitely fine at 4K, small forward, power forward eligibility. If Donovan Mitchell is out, gonna have a ton of open looks going his way. Just the floor is really low, even with him out, I think. But I don't think you can ignore that. I actually kind of overlooked Isaac Okoro. He's been playing a little bit better this year. He's had a couple of games in the 30s DraftKings points. So I think that you kind of have to look his way a little bit if Donovan is out. I don't think I would play him if he's in at 5.1K, but I would have more interest if Donovan was out for sure, just because they're gonna have little scoring outside of LeVert and Max Strus. Somebody's gonna have to help this team score, and they're projected to score about 116 points tonight. So somebody's got to contribute to the scoring. So I think that he would definitely be in play if Donovan is out. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they like LeVert off the bench, so I wouldn't be surprised if Craig Porter Jr. started for Donovan. But I think if Craig Porter Jr. does not start, his minutes are pretty shaky. He's been kind of out of the rotation lately. So yeah, I don't know if he's if he's like a lock, if he's not starting for sure at 4.4K, I think that the minutes could be very volatile for him.
Because like Sam Merrill, yeah, like if Craig Porter Jr. doesn't start, I would not get to him. Like they have Sam Merrill that can play the same role. Just go back 2 days ago, he played 24 minutes. He used to be a buck too. He's a sniper, good, solid player. But he put up 35 DK points. I mean, 6 for 11 from the field, 5 from 10 from deep. I would not be surprised. And if Sam Merrill started, whoever starts at the 1, I totally have interest in. Even if LeVert comes off the bench, totally fine with it. The usage will be up there. It'll probably close in a close game. I would still love LeVert. Strus, if it's Craig Porter starting or if it's Merrill starting, I would love them. The other one I probably couldn't get to. You definitely risk there is how I'm seeing it. I agree with you on Okoro for sure. He's played better, especially if you pull up his last 2 games, 31, 29 DK points, 32, 31 minutes. But man, this dude, 3 for 5 from deep, 3 for 5 from deep, 11% usage, 13% usage. He fills up the peripherals a bit, 7 boards, 6 boards. It's not the craziest thing, but he's 5.1K, and your Niang hate is my Okoro hate. So I would hope he gets some steam, and I would just be like, yeah, give me all these other guys over him. But he wouldn't be the worst play by any means.
Yeah, I would agree with that. We didn't really touch on the Jazz, so I'll touch on them really quick.
Well, there's some value.
Tatum
out, Horford out.
There we go. I figured Horford would be out. Thought one of Tatum or Jaylen Brown would be out. Definitely makes sense for Tatum to sit after rolling his ankle last night. So yeah, we'll
Tyron Taylor, different sport. Sorry, Tyron Taylor's gone, man. Love playing him. He's on the Mets. Hauser's gone. That's fine. He's cheeks. Tyron Taylor's gonna hurt though. All right, so I mean, now talking like the Okoros, all the Yangs of the world. This is the value. Like if D Mitch is out, still have interest in some of these Cavs, but it's a Celtics slate. Hey?
Yeah, for sure. We'll touch on that kind of. It's kind of tough without projections updated right now, but I guess we kind of have an idea of how. Yeah.
Projections will be that's another reason to be at chipination.com. Boomer will have them updated before the show ends. Check them out on the site, FanDuel, DraftKings. Again, projections are key. They're automatically uploaded into our partner optimizer at Solver, so you can check that out. But we'll do the best we can without projections updated right now.
For sure. So
Utah side?
Yeah, on the Jazz side, sorry. If we're gonna have a ton of interest on the Cavs side, especially if Donovan and Mitchell is out, I don't think it's the craziest thing to maybe have a little bit of a correlation, like add that into the solver. Say if Donovan Mitchell, if Strus, LeVert, maybe boost up some of these other Jazz pieces, just because the game's projected to be pretty close, and it makes a little bit of sense to pair your chalk pieces with somebody on the other side just to get a little bit of a different roster construction. So I think that Lauri Markkanen returning from injury got up to 29 minutes last game. We have him projected for right around 32. I don't think that he's the craziest play at 8.3K. He got up to 40 DraftKings points in the last game in only 29 minutes. He's definitely got the upside. He's the lead scorer for this team when he's fully healthy. I really am kind of in on Colin Sexton tonight. I think that he's been kind of just handling the ball handling role really well since Keontae George went down. 3rd on the team in assist percentage, leads the team in usage. He's been shooting the ball really well, 66% true shooting average. So minutes have been increasing a bunch. Scoring has been there. Cavs normally have a lot of great on-ball defenders. They're much more dangerous down low in terms of their defense with Jared Allen, Evan Mobley type guys down low. But yeah, obviously being without Evan Mobley kind of makes him a little bit more vulnerable to scoring. And I think that Colin Sexton definitely has a good amount of upside at 7.2K. You would only need about 43 DraftKings points from him for him to 6x his price tag. And I think he's definitely got that within his range of outcomes just with how well he's been playing. And maybe he's a little bit extra motivated going against Cleveland. He was kind of drafted as the centerpiece of that team when he was there as a younger player. Then he obviously tore his ACL. Darius Garland came in, traded away for Donovan Mitchell, kind of got thrown away. So maybe he's got a little bit of a sour taste in his mouth from that. So I don't mind Colin Sexton at all. John Collins, can't get to him. He's going to be on a pretty big minutes limit right now, returning from injury. THT, also similar story. He's going to see his minutes can kind of fluctuate, but he's going to chuck the ball when he's out there. Got got a 19 shots in 2 out of the last 3 games. Pretty solid fantasy scores, 45 and 38 in those games. So he's definitely in play. I think that I don't love it. I would much rather try to get up to Sexton. Just I know that he's guaranteed his minutes, whereas things could kind of bottom out for THT a little bit. So not super into him. I like Walker Kessler too, though. 6.2K. If he's getting 30 minutes, always been a really solid fantasy producer. Jared Allen's not going to pull him away from the rim. He's going to stay down there, so he could see his rebounds shoot up. Obviously got the big block potential. Had 5 last game, put up 42 DraftKings points in 32 minutes. So I don't mind Walker Kessler at all. Actually, I really like him and Colin Sexton in this matchup. And then obviously all of the Donovan Mitchell stuff, we'll kind of break that down in Discord, and projections will follow once we get the news for that.
Yep, absolutely. My final quick breakdown: D Mitch in probably with this Boston news, probably would just be D Mitch or bust on that side. If he's out, I like Strus a lot. I like LeVert a lot. Whoever starts, if it is Craig Porter, Merrill, I would like one of them. Otherwise, I don't know. Probably no interest. Like Okoro's, the Niangs of the world. Now that we have Boston, interest is much less on those guys. I get the Okoro play, though, if D Mitch is out. Then on the Utah side, Sexton by far my favorite play. Like we talk about it a lot. Revenge, it matters a little bit to me, especially when you're a primarily ball handler. He can bring the ball up. You can chuck it when you want. He's already been playing very good as well. Minutes are there, so I'm definitely good with Colin Sexton. And the more news we get and stuff could lower his ownership. And I don't mind Kessler. Yeah, if he gets 30 minutes, always, especially on FanDuel with the stock upside he has, center is completely loaded. I will say on FanDuel, I don't think you can play him at 7.8K, but he just fits the scoring there better. Center's loaded on DK, which will keep his ownership really low. I don't mind that. 32 minutes last game, 42 DK points, 26 minutes 3 games ago, 45 DK points. He'll be very low owned, has upside there. So, yeah, that's how I see it. Again, projections are key, though. Will be updated D-Mitch news. Very important. Let's keep it rolling. Next game on the slate, the Boston news changed everything. We'll do our best to discuss it. But again, all of our content behind the paywall at SHIPITNation.com. Head over, use that promo code MAYO. Get you 10% off any package, weekly, monthly, 6-month, or annual. And again, get in the Discord. Highly recommended if you do join a monthly, 6-month, or annual package. Like button always helps a ton. We appreciate that as well. Next game on the slate, which will be very low owned. Denver Nuggets, Toronto Raptors, 228 total. Denver is favored by 4. No injury news on either side. Don't think ownership will be on either side. My only interest is Jokic or bust. Again, this Boston news, I think, makes the Jokic's, the Embiid's more playable. Still means center is still completely loaded. So I still think their ownership's going to be in check. Maybe a couple percent more than it was, but nothing to worry about one bit. Sub 10% is what I think. I don't know, man. I guess my question is Jokic or Embiid. I mean, we can't see the future. I've always coin flip. That's how I see it. If you have a lean, sure. I don't have a lean. I mean, maybe Jokic, I guess. I don't know. Do you have a lean on that? But it's only Jokic or bust in this game for me.
Yeah, I'm on the Embiid side tonight. Unfortunately, I normally take Jokic's side. He's just been.
It doesn't got to be unfortunately. I have no lean at all. So
I'm a big fan of Jokic. I always thought that he kind of deserved the MVP last year, but right now it's just Embiid is just playing too good, and Jokic is playing honestly kind of bad right now. He's just, it's tough. He hasn't taken more than 15 shots in a game in 6 straight. One of those was a blowout. The other one he got ejected in the first half, so don't really want to take that too much into account. But still, his DraftKings scoring has been way down. Hasn't notched more than 65 in 7 straight games. Obviously, 2 of those were the blowout and the ejection. But still, the last game he only got 8 shots in 28 minutes and put up 32 DraftKings points. So it's just, I don't know really what's going on right now. Maybe it's just the team getting healthy, is getting Jamal Murray acclimated, getting him more involved. They're going a little bit deeper on their bench, adding in, Peyton Watson, Julian Strawther a little bit. Maybe that's taken away a little bit of usage and shots from him. But matchup-wise, this is fine. Jakob Poeltl, pretty bad interior defender, but they could throw a couple different guys at him. I wouldn't be surprised to see even OG Anunoby guard him. I think he's done that before in the past. But as long as Jakob Poeltl is on him, he's going to have a really big matchup advantage. So I think that obviously it's Jokic. He can break the slate anytime he's on it. I just slightly lean Embiid at the similar price tag, and everybody else in the Nuggets I don't really have a ton of interest in. Jamal Murray's kind of projecting as a positive value for us right now, but he's going to be on a minutes limit for a couple more games, most likely going to be around 25, 28 minutes. So kind of tough to pay 7.2K when you have Colin Sexton right there next to him, and he's going to see 32 to 35 minutes. So I would take him over Jamal. A little bit of interest in Aaron Gordon. He's been playing pretty well lately. Pretty solid matchup. Just the Raptors not great interior defense, and he's going to be looking to backdoor cut, looking for open lobs all game pretty much. And yeah, I mean he's done pretty good lately. 32 plus DK points in 4 out of his last 5. So he's in good form right now. So I don't think it's crazy to go to Aaron Gordon if you land on him at 6.4K, but not a ton of interest on the Denver side outside of Jokic. And I don't really have much interest on the Toronto side. The Nuggets are they're going to be really healthy with KCP back. So it's going to put KCP on Scotty Barnes. KCP's a really solid defender. Aaron Gordon will be on Pascal Siakam, and Aaron Gordon's one of the better defenders. So yeah, I'm kind of okay just getting away from Toronto and crossing out this game outside of Jokic pretty much.
Glad we see it the same way, yeah. Especially with this Boston news, it really condenses the slate. Jokic or bust for me. You prefer Embiid, and it makes total sense. Jokic, you look at the usage numbers, definitely way down. I think it is he likes getting his guys involved, get Murray back in the flow of things, get the offense rolling. He always has that upside though. So I'll side with you now with Embiid. $100 difference. Again, both are going to be low owned though at a strong center position. And if D Mitch is in, I don't know. Now we have more value. So I still don't think people get up to this range though. There's enough strong plays in that 10K range. Let's keep it rolling. Next game on the slate, definitely an important one in terms of DFS. New York Knicks, Brooklyn Nets, 232 total. Knicks are favored by 1 on the Knicks side. Josh Hart is questionable. We got that news right before we came on the show, or right on the show. Midday downgrade. Jericho Sims is out, which means I don't know, man. Is it going to be Taj Gibson sliding in the starting lineup? Hartenstein ran 38 minutes. If Hartenstein does, on the net side, no injury news we have to worry about. I'll say that first. Hartenstein is definitely one of the chalkiest options on the slate right now. If he doesn't start, I think that comes down a bit though. Tell me how you see that. 38 minutes though last game. Definitely something you can't ignore. Claxton on the other side, I think those will be, especially coming into the show, the 2 most popular centers. Now maybe with this Boston and Horford news, that changes a bit. Centers loaded regardless though. Touch on Claxton, Hartenstein without Jericho Sims, and then Julius Randle's going to get some ownership. I think Mikal Bridges is a solid play. I don't think like the Quicklies now. I think Quickly before we came on the show, 5.2K was fine. Don't love it now at all with the Boston news. Does Josh Hart news do anything for you as well? So break down that, but mainly touch on the Hartenstein. Do you think it's going to be Taj starting? Do you think Hartenstein gets the nod? What do you see there?
Man, I don't know. I really hope it's not Taj, because then we're going to kind of have to ask ourselves a tough question if we're going to play him at 3K. Yeah, I don't know. Thibodeau would be just the biggest donkey if he did start Taj Gibson. I mean, he's 49 years old. Yeah, that's his guy. Yeah. But you just can't run out Taj Gibson for more than 5 minutes in a game right now, just at his age. It just makes so much sense to start Hartenstein. He played 38 minutes, like you said, 39 minutes last game, and he's a good player. Like Hartenstein's a really good player, one of the better backup centers in the league, I think. So I think it makes a ton of sense to start him, and I kind of agree with the ownership on these guys. I mean, Claxton, it's a good matchup, way better matchup than it was before with Mitchell Robinson in there. Obviously, Mitchell Robinson, one of the better rim protectors in the league, really underrated defender and player as just in general. But the Knicks interior defense has taken a huge hit with no Mitchell Robinson in there, and we've seen Claxton have good games in good matchups, and this is definitely a good matchup. So if you give me 32, 34 minutes of Nick Claxton, I think he could definitely pay off this tag in a big way. So I like him a lot. Outside of him, I struggled to get to some of these Nets guys. Just their coaches kind of talked about them kind of spreading their guys a little too thin. They're playing a ton of minutes. Had a really big road stretch, road trip on the West Coast. Played in Utah, and they, obviously playing in elevation definitely tires you out. So I think these guys could be pretty tired, just traveling a lot over the last couple of days, and maybe they kind of stretch out the rotation a little bit. I mean, they don't have a ton of guys with not having Dennis Smith Jr. and Lonnie Walker in there, so they're kind of forced to play them a lot. I think that just the grouping of like the Dinwiddie, Mikal Bridges, Cam Thomas, I will take Cam Thomas. Just he's kind of rounding into form again. Obviously, burned us. Was it last couple games ago against the Atlanta where he put up a stinker, put up 6.25 fantasy points, but he's kind of back now, taking a ton of shots last 2 games, 24 and 23 field goal attempts, put up 52 and 46 DraftKings points. Matchup is actually not that bad considering just some of the defenders on the Knicks side, especially if Josh Hart were to miss. I think that Cam Thomas is kind of set up pretty nicely against like a Jalen Brunson or Dante DiVincenzo type of player. So he would be my favorite net outside of Claxton. Yeah, I won't get to Cam Johnson here. I just think that his minutes could really come down a lot. I think that Dorian Finney-Smith makes a ton of sense to get out there for extra minutes for his defense on Julius Randle. So I think Cam Johnson is pretty volatile in the slate. And then on the Knicks side, usually I'm on the Randle side in terms of him versus Brunson, but I think I'm more on Brunson here. I mean, you're talking about he's 2% versus 22% to Julius Randle's, and same price tag, different positions. I get that, but the matchup is really not all that good for Julius Randle. He's gonna have Dorian Finney-Smith and Nick Claxton down there, kind of just shoring up the interior defense. So it's tough. Obviously, Randle's gonna have a ton of usage. He's a black hole on offense, so he could definitely go out there and just bully ball his way to 15 to 20 free throws and put up a big score. But I don't see him being super efficient in this matchup. I think that it's a little bit better for Brunson, where the Nets are kind of struggling versus 3-point shooters. They're a little bit more susceptible to on-ball scores, give up a ton of points off of like dribble drive type stuff. So I think Brunson is set up a little bit better here at 8.6K. I prefer him. Already touched on Hardenstein. I think is a great play if he's starting. Probably fine even if he's not starting. I think he'll still see starter-like minutes, maybe not 40 minutes, but maybe 34, 35 minutes. And yeah, I mean, if Hart were to be rolled out, I think that's what that's going to do is just kind of give a bigger minute ceiling to guys like RJ Barrett, DiVincenzo, going to give Quentin Grimes some more minutes too. I think those would be the main guys that would be affected. I don't think that really changes much for Quickly. More so the 3-4 type of guys like DiVincenzo, Barrett, and Grimes. Yeah, there's some decent fantasy plays in this game for sure. I think that Brunson is kind of a nice low-owned piece in this game.
Yeah, I can always definitely get behind low-owned Brunson. So let's just fast forward quick to the Boston news because I think it's important at center. So Horford was doubtful. Tatum is now out, which he was projected to play. Porzingis does have power forward eligibility. Lamar Stevens has power forward eligibility. But is it going to, I think they could go, I'm not sure they go Neemias Queta, which some people were talking about in chat, because if it was him, he'd be the chalk starting center. They didn't roll him last time. I think they probably go KP at the 5 against Sabonis, and then they can go either Stevens or Hauser is how I'm picturing it. But if it was Queta, however you pronounce the dude's name, at 4.4K, that would definitely eat it. I mean, we won't know that news, though. So pretty much what I'm saying, Hartenstein, Claxton, I still think will be the highest owned centers as of now. But that game is on the island at the end of the night. How do you see that starting? Do you think – I think it's probably going to be Stevens or Hauser. I'd be a little surprised. I don't know, though. What's your lean on that? I think they go KP at the 5.
Yeah, I think it'll be KP at the 5 and then Hauser sliding in for Tatum. They pretty much used him to slide in for anybody. It's kind of like the Justin Holiday on the Nuggets. Like whenever somebody 1 through 4 misses, they can just kind of slide in Hauser. He fits in a lot of builds. So yeah, so I think that it's probably Hauser. Definitely we'll see backup center minutes from Queta, and he is he's a solid fantasy per minute guy. Even that one slate where everybody played him and he wasn't starting, everybody was worried. I think he still got up to 16 or 20 DraftKings points, whatever it was.
I mean, it would have been more too if he got like 4 fouls in 10 minutes or something. It was ridiculous, and he still kind of got there, I guess. So, yeah, that's how Boomer he thinks it's going to be Hauser at the 4, Porzingis at the 5 too. Cool. So we'll go on that. We'll touch on Porzingis when we get there. Definitely a good play though, but it's worth mentioning because center is bloated, and I still do think Hartenstein and Claxton will be 2 of the most popular centers right now in this game. I like your Brunson shout though, for sure. The ownership difference between Randall and Brunson feels way too wide. Randall's still a solid play though. Next game on the slates, we got Los Angeles Lakers taking on the Chicago Bulls, 224 total. Lakers are favored by 4. Lakers side, AD and LeBron are questionable like they are every day. I'm just expecting them to play. On the Bulls side, Zach LaVine is out. Torrey Craig is out. I don't know, man. I think AD, LeBron, I think they're both interesting contrarian spends. I think I like them more than, I don't know, like the Embiids, the Jokic's. That 1K savings pretty big. We do have some value on Boston, but I still think I prefer the 1K savings. Not sure I'd prefer D-Mitch, though, if he was playing at 10K. Ownership, though, would definitely follow there. I would definitely make a rule max 1 AD. LeBron, any thoughts on that? I do like the power forward eligibility for AD. On the Bulls side, center's loaded, but Vooch, I think he's an interesting center play. Kobe White at AK, man. You look at that price and you're like, what is going on? He's been insane. 38, 39, upper 30s minutes every game, 49, 41, 56, 47. Usage is there. Peripherals are there. AK feels crazy, but man, I think Kobe White's a little interesting in this spot. Interesting game here for me. What do you see?
Yeah, this is definitely a very interesting game. Tale of two stories here. Lakers, one of the best rim defenses in the league, but they're just bleeding 3-pointers this year, allowing the 4th most per game, and the Bulls are giving up the 2nd most 3-pointers per game, but going against a Lakers team that is scoring the 3rd most points at the rim. So you gotta think about like how the Lakers are going to attack it. Obviously, makes a ton of sense to get their shooters more involved. Austin Reeves, D'Angelo Russell, Taurean Prince, all those type of guys. They're definitely not in play, but you just got to think about how they're going to attack it. On the Lakers side, I have more interest in Anthony Davis than LeBron in this one. Just LeBron's going to run into a tougher matchup, I guess, versus Patrick Williams. Vucevic is not the toughest or the easiest matchups, about neutral, but Anthony Davis just been playing really good lately. Just been the focal point of the offense over the past 4 games. He scored no less than 32 points over the last 4 games, and this is this could be another hometown narrative type thing. He's from that Chicago area, so going to be going back home. And last time he played in Chicago, he went for 38, 9, and 4. So I kind of like Anthony Davis. It's really nice of DraftKings to give us the power forward eligibility too, so we don't have to waste a center spot. We could still go double center and get up to Anthony Davis, which I like a lot. He's definitely my favorite play in the Lakers and probably the only one I'm looking towards. LeBron is always fine, but he got a triple-double last game, had a nice 61-pointer. But I don't know. I think I side with AD here. He's been just showing a ton of upside lately, and I like the matchup a little bit better for him. And on the Bulls side, Kobe White just been playing out of his mind, playing as like really a top 5, top 10 player over the last like 2 weeks. He's just been crushing, logging a ton of minutes, 35 minutes in 9 straight games, with a lot of those games hovering around 40 minutes. And the usage has been good. He's shooting extremely efficiently from 3 and gets one of the best matchups for 3-point shooters. And we already know that the Lakers kind of struggle with their guard defense, on-ball defense. So I'm pretty into Kobe White here. I think he's a really interesting spend up, if you want to call it that, at 8K. Not going to come with a ton of ownership. People just refuse to play him. I know that Pensac is probably excited to play him again. So definitely like Kobe White a lot. A little bit less interested in DeMar and Vooch. I really don't ever like playing DeMar, especially when he's priced around all these same guys. Just if you get me DeMar at like 7.5K, 7.4K, I'll consider it, but just don't see a ton of upside from him personally. And Vooch is yeah, Vooch is going to have a tough matchup. Definitely has a pathway to some upside if he decides to get more involved as a passer. He's had some pretty decent assist numbers lately. Also a good matchup for 3-point shooters. He's been taking a little bit more, and it could be a game where he just randomly shoots 7, 8 of them and makes 4 or 5 of them. He's going to be left open a ton. So he definitely has a pathway to some upside, but pretty big opportunity cost at center when we know that we want to spend down a little bit at the position.
Yeah, I still think Vooch is fine as a contrarian spend. I like AD more than LeBron. I was looking at our guy Boomer, so projections are updated. We're assuming Hauser does start at the 4, and Boomer talking about our new correlation tool that has came out. AD, D-Lo have hit 5X together 10 times, and Neil said, is this is our new correlation sheet? It came out soft launch a couple days ago. We needed data for this 2023 season. So it is up. The more data we get, the better it is. It is behind the paywall, though. So make sure to check that out, the ceiling rankings tool. The more data we have, the better the tools get, and they've helped people win some cheese. So awesome stuff there from Boomer, and projections are updated, again, to account for the Boston news that we'll get to in a couple games. Again, if you do head over to SHIPITNation.com and want to give us a try, use that promo code MAYO, gets you 10% off. Next game on the slate, we got 3 games left. Man, this game, I cannot wait to get these monitors. Atlanta Hawks, Houston Rockets, 233 total. Houston is favored by 3.5. On the injury report, Bogdan Bogdanovic is questionable. I don't know if you saw him rapping. Maybe he got hurt rapping, but very interesting to see.
That.
Yeah, it was solid. He is questionable. Nothing else on the other side. As far as Houston, Tari Eason's questionable. That was a midday downgrade right before we got on the show. Jayshawn Tate is questionable. Amen Thompson is questionable. I mean, if all those guys miss, they'll be pretty thin at the forward spot. Dylan Brooks will play all the minutes he can handle. Jabari Smith, Jalen Green maybe. Tari Eason's been playing great ball as well. So I think that's kind of important news on this slate. Touch on thoughts there. Sengun, I don't know. I think I'd rather save a little bit and go Vooch, but another contrarian spend who's going to get no ownership. Fred VanVleet, I think solid price tag, good play. And if Tari Eason's out, I do have interest in Jabari Smith at 6-1. Hawks side tougher for me to get to. It'd probably just be Trey as a contrarian spender bust, but I don't love it against Fred VanVleet and the crew. So touch on the Houston news, though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much in agreement with you. I mean, the Hawks are one of the best teams to attack from a fantasy standpoint. They're bottom of the league in a lot of defensive metrics, bottom 3 rim defense, bottom 4 overall defense. They're a top 5 pace team, bottom 3 transition points allowed. And I mean, even on top of that, they're allowing the 10 most 3-pointers per game. And then the Rockets are pretty much on the other side of the spectrum, top 2 in D rating, bottom 2 in pace, first in transition defense, and top 4 in 3-point defense. So definitely have more interest on the Rocket side of this game, but I definitely got to mention Trae Young. He's been playing great ball lately too. 4 straight games of at least 31 real points and 10 assists, and scored no less than 59.5 DraftKings points over that span. Tough matchup versus Dylan Brooks for sure. We always kind of shit on Dylan Brooks for being, just for all the antics and everything. But all that aside, he's definitely one of the best defenders in the league, and he has been for a few years. He held Trae to 28 points, 2 rebounds, and 10 assists last year in the only matchup. And I don't think that you'd really be happy with that at 10.5K. Trae is obviously capable of beating any bad matchup, but I have a lot of respect for Dylan Brooks as a defender. So I think I'm going to be off of Trae. And yeah, everybody else on the Hawks pretty priced up. So I'm fine getting away from them in this matchup. Just think that there's better places to look. And then, yeah, the Rockets, I have a ton of interest in Sengun here. You're not going to get any ownership just with him being center eligible. 8.6K, tough price tag to pay, but he's had a couple bad games of stretch of really tough matchups, and this is one of the best ones in the league. So I think that he could definitely put up a big boy score here at 8.6K. Definitely prefer him to Fred VanVleet, who's going to have a much tougher defender in DeJounte Murray on him, and that alone is enough for me to get off of Fred VanVleet. So I'm off of him, more on Sengun. Jalen Green, sneaky good matchup for him too. He's going to see Trae Young on defense, and Trae is just a turnstile. Jalen Green doing a really good job of scoring at the rim this year, and going to have little to no resistance with Clint Capella down there. Just the minutes are pretty volatile for him. He has the capability to put up a big scoring night, but how much does he really add outside of that? I think that he's very scoring dependent right now. 6.4K is definitely a reasonable price tag for him. So I think he can make your player pool, but he's not a smash play by any means. And I think that projections would definitely tell you that he's not projected for, he's a slightly positive value right now. And yeah, man, I hope that Tari Eason plays because I have a ton of interest in him here. He's been seeing a ton of minutes, or more minutes than he normally was, up to 33 and 30 in back-to-back games. He's just a fantasy point per minute stud. Matchup is going to be great for him with just, transition points, the rebounding, the interior scoring. So I think that he is my price-adjusted favorite play on the Rockets if he's in. I'm kind of treating it as more probable just because they've done this a couple times with him where they'll downgrade him in the middle of the day. So I think he probably plays, and maybe the ownership comes down with people being scared off of it, knowing that the game starts at an hour after the other games start. So I like him a lot. And yeah, if he's out, going to give a bigger minutes boost to Jabari Smith. I think you got to be a max one of Jabari Smith and Tari Eason if you're keeping both of them in your player pool because they directly negatively correlate to each other. But yeah, a lot of interest on the Rocket side, mainly in Sengun and Tari Eason, and then some of the other secondary guys a little bit.
Yeah, easy for Tari Eason, 6.1K, Jabari Smith, 6.1K. Jabari's just power forward eligibility where Eason has small forward and power forward eligibility, but very easy there. I prefer Eason just like you do. If he's out, you can literally global swap Eason to Jabari Smith, assuming you have no small forward or you don't have him in small forward at all, which this game's a little later than the others. So easy pivot right there. I did want to shout out Cool Hands. I saw this message earlier. Very, very much appreciated. See you in here a lot. So much has been going on, though. You said that, 30 minutes ago almost? So if you're still hanging out, much appreciated right there. Why would DeJounte not guard Jalen Green? Because Fred VanVleet's a better offensive threat is my thoughts, and I think your thoughts as well. But we talk about individual.
Hit it right here.
Yeah,
it's that and this. So,
but yeah, I was gonna say that nowadays, I mean, with how the NBA is, the pick and rolls and all that, I mean, it's hard. I try not to look at that stuff too much. Anytime you say DeJounte, it always brings me back to when he played Tyrese, and Tyrese just did his thing. But when you're comparing two things that are pretty close leading into individual matchups, DeJounte is a great defender, like Patrick Williams, you mentioned, Herb Jones of the world, even though Ja showed him there. But I do agree with you there. Yeah, speaking of Ja, man, that was cool. What's going on, Danny?
Great game.
Yeah, great game for sure. What's going on, Danny? Florida, what's going on as well? We got 2 games left on the slate. And again, the Boston ownership or the Boston projections are updated, assuming Sam Hauser does start. 2 games left, man. Los Angeles Clippers, Dallas Mavericks, 236 total. Clippers are favored by 2. On the Clippers side, important news, Paul George, questionable. Norman Powell, questionable, both with an illness. Half the league's questionable with an illness. As far as the Dallas side, Kyrie's out. Derek Lively's out. No changes there. In terms of ownership in this game, I think Derek Jones might get a little bit at 5K. Again, it's just the lack of value. And when we get to the Boston side, I updated Boomer's projections. They aren't popping crazy value right now. A lot of them are priced up. So I do think Derek Jones.
I think we might have lost Titletown. All right, so I'll take over some hosting duties for these last 2 games. Hopefully we get him back. Let me know if you guys can hear me. I'm not sure if it's just Title or if it's me out also. All right, you guys can hear me?
Popular.
All right, cool. Oh. All right, I'm going to shoot Title a message really quick and let him know. Are you there?
So you get me?
I can hear you. You're breaking up a little bit, though. All right, I'm going to let Title handle that, and I'll just talk about this game really quick. Yeah, we talked about Derek Jones Jr. getting a little bit of ownership. I think that's just the positional stuff, pretty solid price tag for him at 5K. Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty good spot to attack for sure. I mean, the Clippers have been on a roll lately, winners of 8 straight games. Mavericks are really struggling defensively, especially on the interior with Derek Lively missing some games. So there's a clear pathway to a couple big fantasy scores on the Clippers side, especially if one of Paul George were to miss, or even both of him and Norm Powell. I think that you could go right back to James Harden, Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi sees a really big uptick in usage with Paul George off the floor, and he's going to run into a tougher defender, Grant Williams. Don't want to read into that too much. Just the interior defense of the Mavericks has been so bad lately that I think that, and Kawhi's playing some of his best ball of his career right now. So I think you could definitely safely go right back to Kawhi and feel pretty good about it at 8.7K. I mean, he's projecting as a positive value right now, even with Paul George projected in. So definitely don't mind Kawhi. If Paul George is out, have a ton of interest in James Harden. I mean, he's all the way back. He's put on a show last game against Indy in the fourth quarter, put up 60 DraftKings points in only 28 minutes. And 2 games ago, when Paul George missed, he went for 71 DK points. So we know that the huge, massive upside from him is still in the range of outcomes. And if the Clippers are without Norm Powell, and I mean, to a lesser degree, Bones Highland matters, but that's one less person that's going to be handling the ball. So I think you could see a pretty big usage and time of possession game from James Harden here. And with the Mavericks losing Derek Lively down low, you could see him get a ton of easy looks around the basket. So I have a ton of interest in James Harden for sure. All of this would change if Paul George is in. I think you would just want to be max one of the situation with Harden, Kawhi, and Paul George. But I think all of them are very much in play with how the Mavericks have been playing defensively lately. And on the Mavericks side, Luka going to put the team on his back here. He's been doing that ever since Kyrie went down to injury. I think he's averaging right around a triple-double since Kyrie has missed, averaging around 40 minutes a game. And he's had a ton of success versus this Clippers team historically. I mean, dated back even to November 10th, he went for 44, 6, and 6 in 32 minutes. Next time they played, it was a little bit of a blowout. He only got up to 30 points, 3 rebounds, and 4 assists, but that was with Kyrie in the lineup. And with Kyrie out, he's going to see huge minutes. I think he has a ton of upside here. I think that it's him and Embiid up top for sure. I think I have a slight lean to Luka right now, just with there being more value at the center spot. But great spot for him too. And then the secondary guys on the Mavericks are definitely in play as well. Tim Hardaway Jr., Derek Jones Jr., Grant Williams going to have a ton of open looks from 3, especially if the Clippers do succeed in shutting down Luka. I think that the way to do that is by blitzing him with a bunch of double teams, and that would open up a ton of open looks for all these guys. Tim Hardaway Jr. is definitely the guy I have the most interest in. He's shown the most upside when Kyrie has missed, and his minutes should be really secure with the Mavericks needing more scoring outside of Luka Doncic. So yeah, really good game. Like Harden and Kawhi if PG is out, and I really like Luka regardless, and THJ behind him. Let me put this on. I'm not going to mess with the outlook of this. All right, last game of the night, we got Boston taking on Sacramento Kings, looking at a 237.5 point total with Sacramento favored by 3. Boston obviously on the back-to-back, going to be without Jason Tatum, without Al Horford, so we'll probably see Kristaps back. I don't know if we got news about him returning yet. I think he was still questionable, but he'll be back, should slide into the starting center spot, and we should see a ton of usage flow to Jaylen Brown, Derek White. Should see Sam Hauser enter the starting lineup as well, with Neemias Queta backing up Kristaps Porzingis. Got him projected for around 18 minutes. I think that he's a fine value at 4.4K. Yeah, I think he's okay. A little bit. He got definitely a price increase. I think he's definitely better than Lamar Stevens, Brissett, all the other guys that are priced in the 3Ks. But he's not a smash value by any means. I think the guy that I have the most interest in on the the Celtics side would be Derek White. He sees the biggest usage bump on the team when both Al Horford and Jason Tatum are off the court, up to 31%. The assist numbers are okay. I think the DraftKings scoring gets gets a big boost as well. Jaylen Brown, obviously the guy that's going to lead the team in usage with all these guys off the court. He's been playing really good ball lately. I think 8.8K is a pretty fair price tag for him. Should see pretty heavy minutes, and this is going to be a pace-up spot. So I don't mind both of Derek White and Jaylen Brown again here. Drew Holiday to a lesser degree, I'm okay with him. 7K is just his scoring, just everything. His just fantasy output is way down on the year. He hasn't topped 30 DraftKings points in 5 straight games, and really hasn't even got, past 37 DK points in a long time. So I'm fine getting away from Drew and just focusing on Jaylen Brown, Derek White. Sam Hauser's a little too priced up for me at 5.3K, but I think that I think there's probably better options. I think I prefer the Mavericks guys, the Grant Williams and Derek Jones Jr. a little bit better than Sam Hauser. I think he's just way too scoring dependent, and this is not really a great matchup for three-point shooters. Sacramento does a pretty good job of taking that away. And then, now that we know that Al Horford is going to be out, I think that gives Domantas Sabonis a much easier matchup. Horford is one of the better defenders down low, and I think Kristaps Porzingis is okay. He's a really good shot blocker, but not really known as a physical presence down lows. And I think Sabonis has been kind of rounding back into form lately. Assist numbers are back up, rebounding is up, scoring is up, and the Kings are playing much faster, which is creating better game environments. So I think that he's very much in play. A little bit way tougher matchup for De'Aaron Fox going against Drew Holiday and Derek White. So I think that it is opportunity cost at center. You're paying up at almost 10K for Domantas Sabonis when there's a lot better value plays in terms of point per dollar, but he'll come in with no ownership, and he's shown it just one game ago, putting up almost 70 DraftKings points. Obviously, it was against the worst defense in the league in the Washington Wizards, but he's still got that upside regardless of matchups. So I like Sabonis a good amount. Sneaky spot, I guess, for Kevin Huerter. If Malik Monk were to miss, that would definitely free up his minutes. I don't know if you're going to go there, only shooting guard eligible, 5.4K, but maybe just with the Kings playing faster and pace, he could get there from a minute standpoint, but I'm not really looking there. It's mainly just Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox on the Kings side, and then on the Celtics side, Jaylen Brown, Derek White would be the priority, and then to a lesser degree, Neemias Queta would be in play for me. But yeah, that's gonna do it. Apologize for title losing connection and you guys having to deal with me as the host. Don't really do this very often. Hopefully won't have to do it again soon, but we'll get his Wi-Fi squared away. But yeah, as always, thank you guys so much for hanging around and bearing with me, and we'll keep you guys updated in the Discord throughout the day when we get more injury news, when the projections update, all that stuff. So good luck everybody tonight. Let's see some SHIPIT logos up top. See you later.